What's going on, guys? It's your boy Burroaks 77 here. This is Box to Box. I'm here with my buddy McAfee. We're going to talk about the last remaining club slate before we take a nice little international break for World Cup. As always, we're sponsored by our friends over at Pickett. Pickett's a great bet tracking tool, line shopping tool. Um, McAfee and I both post over there. Keep track of keep track of our bets. If you're not a member of Pickett, feel free to sign up with either promo code Burroaks or McAfee. Um, yeah, so this is going to be a really tricky slate to talk about, and most of you're going to hear us say it over and over again. We're going to need to see lineups. We're going to need to see lineups. We're going to need to see lineups. That's just because guys are probably going to be getting rested. Some players may already be traveling to the World Cup. It just kind of depends on what the club has decided to do for those guys. I saw this morning Canada was having a little bit of a warm up match. I didn't bother to look into it because I was busy doing college basketball research. But, some guys for their national teams, even if they have a club match, they might have been released. They might have traveled to Qatar already to kind of get ready for World Cup. So this is going to be a tricky slate, but it's also going to be very interesting. There's definitely a lot to talk about. I guess we'll kind of just start with today. We're going to kind of go through some stuff and then we'll circle back when lineups come out. I have a pretty good amount of interest in this Gladbach versus Dortmund game.
Yep.
I think this should be a pretty good one, especially if we see the likes of Makoku and Jude Bellingham and all those guys for Dortmund. Um, so yeah, I guess we'll kind of just start there. Um, Dortmund got worked by Wolfsburg. I mean, the score was only 2-0, but they easily could have lost that game 5 or 6-0. Wolfsburg had great opportunities. They banged a couple off the crossbar, hit the woodwork a couple of times. Um, Wolfsburg really kind of worked Dortmund there, and now Dortmund have to go on the road to Gladbach, who's a very tough team. So this will be an interesting matchup. We're obviously going to need to see lineups. Dortmund's putting a ton of players into the World Cup. So it'll just kind of be interesting to see how that goes. From a Gladbach side, I'm sure they have guys going to the World Cup. I don't know any of their names, particularly right off the top of my head. McAfee, do you know
Talk about this
any
game.
Gladbach starters that are World Cup bound?
Yeah, I think Alson Playa might be going. And then I need to double check these squads. I haven't really looked in to it. He's somebody that could go
Yeah, squad announcements just came out like less than 48 hours
yesterday.
ago
Yeah,
for some teams.
so I think that they Turam and Playa are like their two guys that I think would have. But I need to double check. See. Um, if they've got anybody heading to there or not. Um, let's see. But yeah, in terms of the game, like weird one. They both lost in midweek. Uh, I think you mentioned about the Wolfsburg loss. Well, Gladbach lost to Bochum.
Yeah,
So
that was
I mean,
not good. So these guys are both coming off of
both are they
games they
disappointing
probably feel
results.
they should have won.
And I mean, for Dortmund and Gladbach, they'll want to get into European football this year. They started hot.
Yep.
Uh, they're ninth now. A win here would see them jump, up into seventh place
Yep.
in reach of these European spots. For Dortmund, if they're going to stay anywhere close in the title race, they have to win. Like a loss or a draw here, and the gap is now. We'll see. A loss would be 6 points. They're 6 points back now, so a draw would be 5 point gap to Bayern. yeah, they're in danger of falling out of a title race already. So not necessarily. They've been dealing with a lot of injuries, so kind of a
Yeah,
hard luck campaign for
and
them anyway. But
it's always tough in Germany
mhm,
because Byron is such an absolute wagon.
mhm,
You know, Dortmund is typically the team you expect to compete with them for the title. Dortmund's been able to keep it close.
yeah,
You know, for a while. Even over the years, they managed to keep it close. But, you know, when Byron qualifies for UCL in first place, like they did, and they can refocus back on Bundesliga, that's when you start to see Byron pulling away here. I don't think. You know, Dortmund obviously wants to contend for the title. It's going to be very difficult for them this year. You know, we're even getting to the point in the year where this break it comes in if people come back healthy for Dortmund, that this could be good for Dortmund because Dortmund has a lot of players that could use some rest. I know Sebastian Haller's doing well. You know, he had that bout with the testicular cancer. There's no guarantee that he's going to be fit and ready to play this year. But you know, he's had very positive reports. So that's something that Dortmund kind of have to look forward to. They have a great young player in Mokoku who's been lighting it up for them. Um, he struggled last game, but everybody struggled last game. Dortmund's just, you know, they've been hampered by injuries going back to all the way back to last season, their last season with Holland. So some time off will probably help them. It sucks that most of their quality players are going to the World Cup and will have to play. So that'll be interesting. I I want to say I like Dortmund here. The number is nice. It's like plus 120 last I checked. But this is going to be a really tricky game. You guys know I've said it a bunch. If I see Modeste in the lineup and no Mukaku, I can't play Dortmund. I don't necessarily fade them. I just kind of it becomes a stay away game from me. Just because Modeste doesn't have it, in my opinion. He's a great emergency role filler, which is why they went out and bought him. That can kind of help Dortmund stop the bleeding a little bit, but he doesn't give me confidence in Dortmund to win.
so I looked it up while you were chatting, and Jonas Hoffman is included in the German side, but the French guys are not in the French squad. So
Okay.
yeah, I just needed to double check those guys. So Thuram and Playa, they did not make it. They were long shots to make it anyway. I
Yeah,
wasn't
that
sure if they were,
France squad is insane.
but yeah, that's a tough squad to get into. But they're good players. In this match specifically, I think both teams to score in over 2.5 is a good look. Neither
Yep.
team seems to be able to really keep a clean sheet right now.
Dortmund
And
certainly can't.
yeah, and so you got this last match where there's going to be a significant break here, so both will be wanting to end this period of the season on a positive note. So I do think attacking lineups. I do think we'll see goals today. There's a few value spots. One I've already locked in because I know he's going to start is a playa assist at plus 550 on FanDuel.
Nice.
He had 2 assists against Stuttgart in their last home game, which was only a week ago. The midweek game, they lost 2-1. He did not get one, but going back like into his last 5, he had assists against Frankfurt, and he had assists in the cup as well against Darmstadt. He's just they play so much down their left wing, which is where he's at. He's one of the most informed guys, and if you look at Bundesliga stat trackers, he's involved in as much goal creation as any of the other players. And take the Bayern players in there and everybody. Like the guy is a really underrated player, kind of flies under the radar a little bit. And I thought plus 550 really good value for an assist, especially considering uh, Dortmund has been playing Nicolas Sula as a right back,
Yep.
who's this big lumbering. He looks like a linebacker, not a traditional fullback, because they've had so many injuries there at the right back positions. I think he can get at him. I think he can whip some balls in, and I think Thuram is in pretty good form. So I thought an assist looked good. He assisted Thuram and he assisted Hoffman in that match uh, against Stuttgart. So I see goals like, and on the Dortmund side, yeah, Mukoko, like he got himself into good positions. He was really throwing himself around. He's obviously buzzing to be 17 and named to the World Cup squad for Germany is huge.
Yep.
Not sure how many minutes he'll get, but just to be involved is huge. I'm
Yeah,
sure he'll
just
sign
just
off
to
with a
be with the
goal.
team,
Yeah,
training, it's a
it's
big deal. And you learn a
uh-huh.
lot from guys like that and playing on the national team, getting some different coaching styles and feedbacks.
Yep.
But yeah, I like that read a lot. If I forced myself to watch every minute of that Dortmund Wolfsburg game.
Hmm.
Um, you're right. The Dortmund got
That
torched
Maxi
on
Arnold
that.
goal was something else, right? For like
Yep.
44 yards. The swerve uh, screwed up the keeper, but yeah, that was a hell of a goal. I think it had like a 2% chance to go in or something.
Yeah, that was a worldie for sure.
Yeah, it's like I said, I think this will be fun, man. I think this game should be open. It should be attacking. I was looking at putting together like a little same game parlay that I thought was plot because even that both teams scoring over 2.5 was still like minus 140 or something.
Okay.
But if you take an alt line of Gladbach plus 2 goals, it moves into plus money. Um, so that means they basically can any
Lose
result
by
other than
one.
lose. Yeah, exactly. Lose by 2 goals. So hopefully. I haven't locked it in, but that was a way I was going to attack it, just as a kind of a fun game.
For sure.
I just don't see Dortmund going in here and keeping a clean sheet, but I also don't know if they're going to score 3 or 4 goals. So
Right.
yeah, I thought that was an interesting way to play it, but nothing yet. I other than the play for a half unit, I played his assist at plus 550, which is excellent compared to other books when you shop it. Canby books aren't even offering his assist, which I thought was kind of suspect. And DraftKings had it at like plus 250.
Yeah.
So we're getting like twice the value here on this. So I thought it was a good look.
Nice. That makes sense. So I think that the sports books are kind of having some of the same hesitations that we are as gamblers. I think some of the sports books aren't going to hang props until they get lineups, and then they're probably going to be selective what kind of props they offer markets on. Just,
Well,
you
like
know,
Caesars, they just eliminated soccer player props altogether. They're like, we
yep,
don't even want to fuck with it anymore, uh,
yeah.
which is wild.
Yeah, there's different reasons for stuff like that. I think I've mentioned before, maybe not here, but I know I've definitely mentioned it with Ryan and Brian. Caesars, to me, is a very sharp book, and they're very accommodating. Watching Caesar's line movement is kind of a good indication of typically where I think other lines are going to move. And Caesars isn't really hesitant to limit bigger gamblers on action. So they tend to take higher dollar values of action from players across the board. So yeah, that makes sense to me that Caesars has kind of eliminated that liability from the book's standpoint. Um, but
Yeah,
that said, who knows when lineups come out, they might start to offer some of those markets.
they killed them, and then we had fun for about 2 weeks on Hard Rock when they dropped their book. Uh,
Yep,
doing windcasts on Hard Rock, and then they just were like, "All right, enough of that. Like, we tap. You
yep,
guys are hurting us." So, yeah, it. I wish we had more markets. I wish I had 365, honestly. Like
Oh, for sure. I definitely
365
do
is that.
too.
They need to expand and beyond Colorado and Jersey,
Yeah.
because yeah, they're in terms of the soccer betting menu, they're huge, and
Yes.
yeah, for most of us, it's Canby, uh, DraftKings, and FanDuel that we can do right now for player props, and even FanDuel, they're done messing around with like live player props in terms of live cards and live assists and live. It's just they don't want any more of the smoke because
Right.
where there's too many games for them to watch and keep an eye on, and we're faster than they are. But yeah, well, let's move off of this guy and swing back to it once we got lineups here after a bit, so we don't
For
run out
sure.
of time.
There is a pretty decently interesting game in France as
Yeah,
well. Lyon's taking on Nice. They're 8 and 9 on the table. They're separated by 1 point. To me, Lyon should have some higher expectations on themselves. They went out and they got Lacazette, aka Laser Cat, back, who's been playing well for them. He takes their penalties. Pretty nice little player. Nice was very competitive last
he's
year.
finished.
What's
Maybe
up?
not. Maybe not in the Farmers League. But yeah, I watched Lacazette. He can't run anymore.
Oh no, I mean he's effective in the French league
In the
though.
French league, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And he's also a club legend. Like
Sure. Yeah.
you get a nice little boost back there.
Oh yeah, man. And FIFA, 10, when he was a youngster coming through, and he was like, a 72 overall. He was a fun buy for the future. Uh, he's one of those transfers to Arsenal that actually came through and came to fruition for for us
Yeah,
FIFA players. But yeah, Laka. I mean, I'm looking at um, his recent form. Like Lyon aren't scoring a lot of goals, which scares me. Like there's a lot of 1-0s in there or 1-1s.
yeah.
But he seems to be involved in most of the goals, whether scoring them or assisting them. So I looked at his to score or assist, and it was even money. I thought that might be a good player prop.
For sure. Yeah, he's also tied for third in French league with goals. So he's got 8 goals, 3 assists. He definitely is a big contributor there. Um, Delort for Nice and Labrador are pretty big goal contributors as well. I think it'll be interesting. I believe Pepe's on Nice now, right? So that might be a little Arsenal to Arsenal kind of
Yeah,
rivalry going on there.
and they have Aaron Ramsey there as well. So there is definitely some Arsenal links in this match. To me, like it's not something I'm going to bet on, but I understand why people will. Um,
Yeah, in a 3-game slate, that's definitely the second most competitive game we get today.
there is one game today that I think is a good bet that I'm going to have, and I'm going to give it out. I think Birmingham at home in the championship against Sunderland.
Okay.
You can get Birmingham at plus 120. Their recent form is pretty good, and going to the second city is tough. Like if you watch a lot of lower league English soccer, and Birmingham used to be a top Premiership side, but going there is tough to do. Sunderland are kind of a mess. That might be harsh as a mess considering where they were at one point, but
Right, they were all the way
yeah,
down to League
yeah,
Two.
they've done a good job. But I think Birmingham at home today is a solid bet. You look at their recent form; they've really kind of turned things around. I'm pretty happy backing them here at plus money. Uh,
Nice.
Birmingham have, let's see, their recent form here. They have, trying to look at their home form here. I know they got a 3-0 against Bristol. I know that they beat QPR 2-0 recently. It's just one of those places that's a tough place to go get a result,
Yeah.
and I like Birmingham to probably beat the Black Cats today, and a plus 120. I'm gonna put a unit on it. I think it's worth a stab.
Nice. I definitely think the Irish kid Hodge over there for Birmingham is playing really well. He's tied with a bunch of people up there for top goal scorer in championship with 9 goals. He's got 1 assist as well. As far as these two teams playing, he's he's far and away the premier scorer on both sides. The next guy is Stewart for Sunderland, and then Clark, who's got they have 5 and 4 goals
Yeah,
respectively.
Ross Stewart's a good. He's a good goal scorer. It and Ellis Sims is there too. From he's like on loan from Everton, I think. Like, I the championship's tough, man. It's one of those leagues it's just extremely hard to stay on top of because the games come so thick and fast. You
Yeah,
know,
they play like 46 games or some
yeah.
shit
There's a
like
game
that. Like it's wild.
every 3 or 4 days. There's another turnaround,
Yeah,
and so that's I think a trip down. It's not terribly far from the Northeast down to the Midlands, but um, yeah, I think this is a good spot for them. Friday night, Birmingham at home. I think they'll get all 3 points. And if I'm wrong, I can live with it. It's one unit.
yeah,
We'll live to fight another day. I'm gonna peek because it's now inside of an hour at these the Dortmund and Gladbach uh, Twitter pages to see lineups if there's any surprises or player props before we move on. So
for sure.
Dortmund, they are starting Mukoko, Julian Brandt, Malin, and Reina up top.
Okay,
Uh, Midfield, Emery Khan and Jude Bellingham. And then, yeah, in defense, Hummels and Schlotterbach, center halves. And then, yeah, Sula and Guerrero are the fullbacks. So no real surprises in the Dortmund lineup. Hopefully Gio Reyna's, they wrap him in bubble wrap today. Last thing
yeah.
we need for him is to tweak his hammy.
Again,
Yeah, again, let's see. And with Munchen, I mean, is there any with that now that he's starting? I know you're a Mukoko stan. Are you throwing anything on him, or what do you
I
think?
mean, I'm gonna have to do some shopping around and look at prices and stuff like that. That's something I will do here, either as we're talking about something or after the show. It doesn't
Okay.
make it's not super entertaining to watch me sit here and scroll through my phone checking different sportsbook props.
And then peeking here at this. Okay. We've got the Gladbach team in.
I just got the notification. It's up on
Playa's not even in the squad today, so I got to see what happened to him. I didn't realize
Interesting.
he must have picked up a knock of some sort. I got to figure out what. Well, anywho, we can always, like you said, it may not be terribly interesting. We can move on and hit the Saturday slate if you're ready.
For sure. Yeah, I won't have anything on this Italian game. This is that's a dud in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to play anything, uh, I mean, Empoli makes sense here at home, but neither one of these teams I have a good enough feel for that I want
Right.
to invest any units on at all. I'm not
Yeah, I
betting
watched
just
Empoli
because
get
it's the only game
shellacked
on.
by Juve for 4 goals.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm kind of out on that one. Um,
yeah.
I guess we'll start over in EPL. City's taking on Brentford. Um, unless you like something on Brentford, this game is going to be extremely unbettable, unless you're willing to take City for 3 or more goals. The money line on City's like minus 1,100, 1,200, 1,300.
Yeah,
Um,
I think the way to attack it is Erling Haaland. He's not going to the World Cup, so there's no reason to wrap him in bubble wrap. Let him just fucking smash. He came through with us with that late winner. He had an offside goal that they chalked off, and then still got it. I think if he doesn't start, I would be shocked. Let's just say that. Brentford. Tony will be upset. He got snubbed for a World Cup spot.
absolutely.
If you think maybe they'll score a goal, maybe look his way. But yeah, to me, I think Holland will get a couple goals. Brentford, excuse me. I'm just not sure they can handle Man City. Man City, they played with 10 men for like 2/3 of the match and still like were bossing possession and stuff like that. It's just they're so good. The things you have to worry about, I guess, as the World Cup and certain guys maybe coming off, but Pep's not terribly worried about that. He's got a title race on his hands here, so he's going to try to win this game and win it convincingly. And because it's the early kickoff, they'll want to plant this win into the ground because then it puts pressure on Arsenal, who are the last kickoff of the day. So I would say, like you said, a City team total or Holland props, I think are a good look.
Yeah, obviously it'll depend on lineups. Last week Holland did not start. He subbed in. I'm gonna have to wait and see on that one. I think that your opinion on Tooney is a good look. Leg had the same sentiment. You know, Tooney was a definite World Cup snub in a good way to kind of cement that in everyone's mind is you're going to be playing in City on a standalone game. If you go out here and get a goal, that's gonna get some attention for sure. The other nice thing about Tooney, I think that has been shared ad nauseum on Twitter, is the guy does not miss from the PK spot. He's perfect in his career from the spot. He's a very good penalty taker. So if Brentford are somehow able to draw a penalty, he's going to be the guy. And
Yeah.
anything can happen, but history dictates that he just doesn't miss those.
I found so Playa has COVID. I just figured it out. They announced
Okay.
it. Somehow I missed it, but yeah. So he misses this match with COVID. I could not figure out why he wouldn't be in the squad. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, I mean, I don't hate some Tooney props here. I might look for his shots on target as well. Just because, yeah, I mean, like you said, City are in a title race. They do need this win. Brentford very much suck away from home. This is a game that could easily get out of hand and City could dominate, but like we saw last week, early red card, Fulham tied that game up, and then, yes, City dominated possession, but they played some rotational guys that were a hair off. And when you're a hair off, that's what happens in EPL. You get
Yep.
so used to watching very precise and perfect football, and when it doesn't work out that way, City struggle to finish in front of the net. So again, I'll need lineups and stuff like that. I think the best way to kind of attack that is without knowing anything else, is a little bit of the Tooney snub angle. And other than that, I'm probably gonna chill out and wait for some.
Brentford have scored 1 goal in their last 3 matches. That was in the 5-1 Newcastle beatdown. Bournemouth clean sheet, Arsenal clean sheet. So yeah, you look at the last 3 matches, they've conceded 8 and scored 1. I don't see those numbers getting any better. It's Yeah,
They're not very good on the road. They beat
yeah,
Brighton at
tough.
home 2-1.
Yep.
Brentford played tough at home, so if this was a home match for Brentford, I'd be I wouldn't be singing that much of a different tune because it's still City, but
Yep.
Brentford at home are definitely, that's something you have to consider and take a look at when you're talking about Brentford, but that's not this weekend and that won't happen again for at least another 6 to 8 weeks. So not something I'm going to spend a bunch of time on.
Yeah. What match do you want to talk about next? Let
Shit.
me
I
guess.
see.
Spurs
I
Leeds.
don't. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't like a ton of these matches in EPL. Like, I have no interest in talking about Bournemouth, Everton. I have no interest in talking about Pool, Southampton, Palace, Nottingham's not super interesting. I think Tottenham and Leeds definitely has a good angle on it. Tottenham is obviously without Son. That's a huge blow for them. Tottenham have been in a rut. They've been not looking good.
Mm,
Harry Kane's still there. He still draws penalties, flops around. Leeds got an outstanding gritty win after going down 3-1 to Bournemouth. That was huge for the squad. That was huge for Jesse Marsh. Um, Leeds is hot right now, and the line on them, I don't know necessarily know if Leeds can go in here and win outright, but Tottenham are very content playing deep back, letting up shots, letting people pepper their goal. They're confident in their defense. Leeds like to press, they like to attack. They got a bunch of young guys with huge motors on them. I see some goals here. I can easily see Tottenham getting one. I see Leeds getting one. I kind of like the both teams to score over 2.5 here at -105. I think this is going to be a very competitive match. I might even back Leeds on like a double chance because I really think that with how Tottenham have been playing without Son, Leeds might be able to steal a point here, maybe even three.
yeah, I was looking at last year. Leeds did get a 3-1 win, and Spurs got a 2-1 win. I I don't know. Right now, I feel like Conte he doesn't rotate his team really at all, so they're all kind of tired.
I think Conte
And
might be flirting with getting another job.
I mean, the fit with Spurs was never right for Conte. It was just the biggest paying job that was available when he was ready to take one. So I
Yeah.
never thought he was really long for the Spurs job. But looking at it, man, I think Spurs will probably. I think a 1-0 win for Spurs. I'm kind of opposite. I think it's a very, hey, just don't get beat, be steady, let's get the goal, and let's get into the like secure the top four through the World Cup break, reorganize, get everybody back, and try to plan for the second half of the season. um
That
I
would
don't know,
be
we'll have to see what
ideal
happens.
for Spurs.
Huh?
I said that would be ideal for
Yeah,
Spurs.
that's why I think Conte is so pragmatic. Like, that's why I see just a very like resolute defensive performance, and maybe just grabbing the one goal, and trying to sit back because yeah, they're not in like free fall or anything, but they've been passed by Newcastle now. Man United's right on their heels. So yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what happens. It's I don't have confidence in Leeds to go in there and turn Spurs over. I really don't. So I 1-0 Spurs, I think, is for me.
For sure. I
Yeah.
don't think that Leeds get shut out here. Leeds always find a way to get a goal. They're a very gritty team. They have a lot to prove. They really respect the shit out of Jesse Marsh. Happy to see his seat cool down a little bit here before the World Cup break. This is an opportunity for Leeds to get their third win in a row and really kind of cement themselves out of a relegation match?
Don't get
Will
me
they
wrong.
be able to
I would
do
love
it?
to see it. I
Yeah,
want Leeds to win. Don't get me wrong. That's why I think I hope all of what you're saying happens and it's right. I wanted to look at the team total for Leeds. All right, for them to score, it's only that's not very good.
yeah, both teams to score is
Yeah.
still like minus 150-ish, I believe.
Yeah, I don't really dig it. It's that might be the way to play it, I guess, but I'm just not sure. Yeah. I hope what you're saying comes true. Let's say it like that.
For sure. Next one I want to talk about is the battle of the shit shows, which is West Ham versus Leicester.
Okay.
Um, I had much higher expectations for West Ham after signing Samacha. Their coach, their manager has had a tough time cementing a lineup, but West Ham have been playing decently lately. Let me just double check something here. No, yeah, I mean, they're such a fucking up and down club. They don't get many draws. They're wins or losses for West Ham. Um, they lost 1-0 to Man United. They won a cup game. They lost 1-2 at home versus Palace. They just lost to Blackburn in the EFL Cup, but I don't put a bunch of weight into that. It's the EFL Cup. West Ham have shit they need to figure out in the Premier League. I'm not gonna
Oh yeah,
sit
no
here and
Premier League team has any interest in EFL Cup fixtures.
yep,
That's completely unnecessary. You saw most of the team, like yeah, Chelsea and City drew each other, so of course somebody big was going out. But like
yep.
Chelsea's out, Arsenal's out, Tottenham's out, like all these teams, West Ham's out, like
It's
they're all like
almost at the point
bugging.
where you
Yeah,
kind of want to fucking throw the game so you don't have to put your guys
yep,
out there to put more minutes on their
yep,
legs.
exactly.
Um, Leicester's been playing good football lately. If I didn't look, I would. You could if you somebody told me Leicester won 4 out of their last 5, I'd tell you you're fucking crazy. But they have. Leicester started off this year as a complete mess and shit show, but have kind of found some form. Madison's playing really well. Leicester's got players and they're kind of putting some stuff together here. So I think this is going to be an interesting game that will have some angles. I definitely like both teams to score. West Ham, they've been shut out before, but Leicester's just so bad at guarding set pieces and just defense in general. They have, excuse me, they have gotten better recently. It's just, I don't necessarily think that form's going to hold up forever. So I think there's goals in this game. Um, Jamie Vardy's obviously not with England this year. He's kind of getting to that phase in his career where he's gonna probably be looking to accept more of a super sub role and just kind of be a bench guy and stuff like that. They got Iheanacho, who they don't play a ton. I think that he's kind of fallen out of the favor with the club, including last year. They got Daka, who's a great young player. Um, Leicester's got talent. They just need to figure out where they're gonna go, and they certainly want to stay out of the relegation zone. West Ham had aspirations to be a top 6 club, and they need to kind of right that ship. So yeah, I think there's goals in this game. I don't mind to both teams to score over 2.5. Um, you know, right now you can get Leicester draw no bet at plus money, and that's interesting because West Ham are good. They don't necessarily they have great fans, but their building isn't like a fortress. They're not unbeatable in their building. This is going to be an interesting competitive game where I could see either side winning. So I'm probably going to stay off a side and just play the totals.
Yeah, I probably won't touch this game at all. It's not really. I don't have a strong feel either way. So again, with this last weekend, I'm gonna really be picking my spots. Very, very, very selective with my
Yeah,
bets.
one of the reasons this one I think is interesting is because neither team's putting a ton of people out to the World Cup.
Yeah, so West Ham. I know Kerr is going to the German squad, and then Rice to England, and then Leicester, Madison to England,
Tillemans will be playing for Belgium.
Belgium, yeah, and Diddy, he's probably called up, right? I would assume so, but yeah, and then Ward for Wales. Yeah, this is a Fabianski. Did Poland even make the World Cup? I gotta double check that.
Poland, yes, they did.
Okay, so yeah, Fabianski will be there. We got a lot of homework to do here, man. There's a lot of stuff. Yeah, for me, it's I would need to see lineups, and if I find value on a prop that I think is like out of whack, maybe I jump in here. But yeah, nothing gets me too excited. I think Newcastle Chelsea is probably the most interesting match.
For sure. That's definitely the most interesting match in EPL on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. Which way are you leaning there? You going to take Newcastle on the money line?
Fuck yeah, I'm going to take Newcastle on the money line. I think everybody's seen me do that on this show for a month straight, and I haven't lost that bet yet. Newcastle plus 130 at home versus Chelsea. Newcastle is dropping goals on everybody's fucking head, and they're getting ASM back, and they're going to get Isak back. They're a top 4 club right now, and they plan on planting their flag and staying there. Chelsea is struggling, not mightily. I mean, we saw that game versus Arsenal. I thought Chelsea would have a goal in them. Great job by Arsenal keeping a clean sheet there, squeaking out that 1-0 win.
We dominated them though. That was that was as comfortable as a 1-0 can possibly be. And yeah, if Gabby Jesus can freaking get that header on target, and
I mean, let's not act like Chelsea didn't have opportunities. They didn't put their
Thiago Silva wasn't back there, they would have lost probably 4-0. Like, he had an immense game.
Silva played like the fucking Brazilian captain he is.
He was the man of the match, and his team lost 1-0. He was a titan and at the back. I mean,
that's what he lives for.
Yeah, his positional awareness and ability to like just be where and anticipate where the ball's going to go. It's
those tackles, those fucking squeaky.
It was unfortunate that his mistake was the one thing he did wrong led to the Arsenal goal. So yeah, tough business for sure. But yeah, without Silva back there, they would be really, really in some trouble. I like Newcastle to win too. I think this is a statement game for them. They've had a couple here recently. Newcastle. They're the new PSG and Man City. They've got unlimited funds. They'll be a fixture. I'm not saying they're going to compete for the Premier League title this year. I'm not saying they're going to be but I think the expectations is that they make the Champions League next year. And
absolutely,
I think they'll be a title contender within the next 5 years, and I think they'll win a Champions League in the next 10. That's how powerful this money is. That
for sure.
Recession
and Eddie Howe's a great manager. They got a good system there, and now they finally are getting the finances to be competitive, and they have a very good sound plan. Callum Wilson was playing out of his mind. He got subbed off. He was sick, and that's why he got subbed off. And then they brought in big Chris Wood for him, who immediately scored. And I know there's a lot of people who don't love big Chris Wood. Say what you will about him. Maybe is Newcastle getting to be a club that he is maybe too big for him? Sure, but Big Wood is always healthy. He's always available, and he kept Newcastle out of relegation last year when they went on that 6-game winning streak. Wood was a huge contributor in that. He had 4 or 5 goals in that win streak. He flew back from New Zealand and maybe had 12 hours worth of rest after World Cup qualifiers, and then came on and scored a fucking sick header for Newcastle last year. Big Chris Wood is a very important role player, and Newcastle's they have depth and they're playing really, really well together. The loss of Isak and ASM did not affect them the way sportsbooks and a lot of people thought it would. And that's why I've been continuing to attack Newcastle on the money line. They're just playing that good of football.
Yeah, they've got a lot of guys going to the World Cup, and Almiron, I think you got to mention him. Like he's scored in
3-4 matches
like
in a
4
row
out of the
now.
last 5 or something like that. Like he's been in fantastic form.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think they'll get at Chelsea. Chelsea, they've had some tough injuries here. Obviously, the Conte injury has been really affecting them. But the loss of Reece James is pretty paramount. He was one of their best players, and
Yeah.
Fofana.
Sterling's still not playing up to his potential.
It's gonna be tough. Like I do think Newcastle on the money line is the move. I agree with you. And then if they're hanging good numbers on Almiron and Wilson and stuff, I may go ahead and buy one of their goals because I do see them scoring and winning this game. So yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm gonna buy at this spot with Newcastle.
Nice. Welcome to the Newcastle bandwagon. Doors always open. We got
It's
seats on this
yes,
bus.
it's a fade of Chelsea as much as it is a buy of Newcastle. That's the other part of it. Like it's two halves of that sandwich
for
have come
sure.
together, and the price is right too here. Like you're going to get plus $1.25 here. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
It's weird though, because you're like, man, Chelsea money line here, plus 220. That's a lot of people will look at that and they'll be like, oh, okay, Chelsea versus Newcastle. Let me jump in on that, and not really paying close enough attention. So,
for sure.
What about Wolves Arsenal, man? What do you think?
Arsenal is gonna skull fuck them into the ground. I don't know. Wolves suck.
Wolves, what was that? They had a goal explosion in their last game. What was that about?
2 whole goals for Wolves.
That's. I mean, Jesus, like settle down, guys.
Yeah, my boy Guedes.
They had 2 first-half goals, right?
Yeah, they did. And then they got a red card and let Brighton back into that game.
Yeah, what a wild first half. 2-2 and a red card in the first half.
Yep.
Something else there. So, Molyneux, not the hardest place to go get a result. Arsenal will know the City result ahead of time. They'll know that they want to win this game anyway. Like we sacrificed the EFL Cup, like barely played anybody, any normal starters. And I think here, to sign off and be able to go into Christmas top of the league, they're not dropping the ball here. Arsenal will win this match. Picking the goal scorer has been a fool's errand in the Arsenal team right now. Their goals, they've got goals coming.
I think they got 4 or 5 guys with 5 goals, right?
Yeah. I mean, you've got fullbacks and center halves scoring. You've got center, literally the goals could come from anywhere. Nice. Outside of Ben White. Ben White does not have a shooting boot. So he could have had 2 against Chelsea. That was the other thing. Like he gets two balls to his feet in the box and can't even get either one on target. Does Gabby Jesus sign off here with a goal? He's getting his XG's out of control. I know he's missed the most big chances in Europe right now. He's got one more than like Benzema and Mbappe and like all the other top strikers. So he's getting.
I would say you almost get Morata's probably on that list too, because all that guy does is miss sitters.
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. Your forwards, as long as they're getting into good spots, the goals will come. But yeah, I would assume it's the A+ like Arsenal squad with Martinelli, Saka around Jesus, Xhaka, Partey with Odegaard up top, at the point, Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba, and Ben. They're going to go there. They'll probably win this game. I don't know if it'll be a skull fucking like a 3 or 4-0. I think a nice 2-0 sounds about right. Like, let's get it. Let's get the win. Um, yeah, Wolves, they just don't open up. No matter how the game's going, they're just not going to open up. So, like,
Yep.
very rarely does Wolves get turned over. Like, they what they can do is be a
They
wet
defend
blanket.
well.
Yeah, they'll just be a wet blanket. So, 2-0 sounds right. And then Arsenal go into the Christmas break, World Cup break on top. I dig that.
Yeah, I'd have, nothing I see says anything else.
Yeah,
2 goals from Wolves the other day against Brighton does not impress me.
that was an explosion,
That that club borderline might be in a relegation battle here. Sorry to say it, Wolves fans. They're just not that good.
I don't think we
Oh,
have any Wolves fans here, man. You're all right. You don't have to apologize.
over in Germany, there's definitely a couple of games worth talking about. Uh, Wender Bredman is playing RB Leipzig on the road. I said last week that RB Leipzig would get their first road Bundesliga win, and they did. That was what they had to do. If they lost that game on the road, they were in big, big fucking trouble. The top of that table is still tight. These are points RB Leipzig definitely need to pick up. I've talked ad nauseum about how bad they are on the road. This is the time of year where you have to focus in on Bundesliga. Yes, you are playing UCL ball. Yes, you have World Cup coming up. You have to handle your business here in Bundesliga because, uh, let's be honest, RB Leipzig, great for you for qualifying. I already forgot who they drew in the tournament in UCL because I don't have it in front of me, but I don't think they have aspirations of winning UCL. They're going to do their best, but I think they know that they don't have a great chance at winning that competition. So their focus should be here in Bundesliga. I don't hate taking a -120 on them here on the road. And Kalku's playing great football. Obviously, Timo Werner's out with that knock he took. They got Olma back, who's playing really well. Forsberg is always somebody to keep an eye on there. Sabitizer, Silva, RB Leipzig have a lot of offensive talent. They like to play fast. That said, Brendan's no joke. I mean, they got strikers. They can get goals. I think RB Leipzig's not somebody who keeps a clean sheet, especially on the road. So, both teams to score over 2.5, definitely a possibility here. I and Konku, I believe, got the call up to the French squad.
Yep.
I don't, he may play, he may not play. But this kid lives for the bright lights. He loves putting that responsibility on his shoulders, and he delivers. So
Are you
if
excited
you're
to see
getting
him
an
at
Konku
Chelsea
goal,
for the second half of the year?
what's up?
Are you excited to see him at Chelsea for the second half of the year?
No, I want him to stay at RB Leipzig and keep scoring goals because I have a fucking 9-1 future on him to win top goal scorer in
He's going to
Bundesliga.
get sold in the winter transfer window. They've already got the contract in place, I guess. Like,
Everything's final when they show up and play a game on the pitch. Because so much crazy shit happens with these soccer contracts. I don't believe shit until the players wearing a kit and on the pitch. If
yeah,
he does go to Chelsea, good for Chelsea. That's a move that puts them. I don't know. I don't even know if that's a move that puts them back into the conversation for top four because Chelsea love to buy strikers and then it gets kind of muddy up there at top. They need help defensively more than anything else.
Chelsea. I was reading an article, Football London. They've already activated Nkunku's $52.8 million
Release
release
clause,
clause, and he'll be joining
January.
in the January transfer window.
Good for them.
Yeah,
That's huge for RB Leipzig because they just signed him to a new deal to get that big of a
get that
release
money
clause.
secured. Yeah,
And that's what you got to do with your youth talent. And no discredit to anything the Red Bulls do. They're a great organization. They have feeder teams all around the world. To me, they're one of the best teams at scouting and developing talent. Um, they the Bundesliga doesn't compete with EPL when it comes to money like that.
yeah,
There's really only two teams who can do it in the Bundesliga, and it's Bayern and it's Dortmund, and both of them are historically very, very smart with their money and always kind of let go of their players at the right time, don't overpay, and stick to a good budget. And that's kind of just the German way of doing business over there.
yeah,
And Byron, the big red machine, has perfected it. Dortmund is very, very good at it as well. You can look at all the talent that's come through Dortmund and gone on to have great success. And even if they don't have great success, they had the potential and injuries or something piled up, but Dortmund got paid on all of that, which is what they're doing with Adeyemi. That's what they're doing with Makoku here. They did it with Aubameyang. They did it with Holland. That's just kind of what the German league is. It's a great, I don't want to say stepping stone, but because it is a good league. But yeah, when you get players that are world class like that, your expectations is to sell them on for $50+ million.
yeah. They're the best of the rest. It's Spain and England are top two, and then it's with like Italy is right there as well, and Germany as well. Like they're right there in the best of the rest. But yeah, when Spain or England come calling, that's where
That's where the
the
big
milk and
bucks
honey
are.
is at, baby. You gotta
Yep.
go there. All right, man. So Dortmund and I'm just looking at this Dortmund and Gladbach. He'll kick off here in what 23 minutes. Did you have a
Yeah.
chance to add anything to that, or you staying pat?
No, I'm okay with the no play before it kicks off.
Yeah.
I might sprinkle live here. I like I said, I like Makoku. Um, you know,
Mhm.
uh, I want to temper everybody's expectations. I don't know what the price is on Jude Bellingham today. Don't go reaching for Jude Bellingham at a plus 240 or to like 300 price area to score. The guy's obviously capable of doing it, but he's playing midfield. Like, if you're going to bet a midfielder to score, get midfielder prices on it. Get plus 500 to plus 600. Don't don't fork over your money and pay a premium on Jude Bellingham just because you like him and you recognize the name. You got to understand that he's no longer playing up there on the left wing for Dortmund, so his opportunities will be scarcer and scarcer. Do something like Brad did the last time Dortmund played. Brad found him at minus 140 for a shot on target. If you can get prices, yeah, I personally like a little bit better than that, but yeah, I mean, take him for a shot on target, but don't go taking only like plus 240 or something like that for his goal when he's playing midfield.
Yeah, his
That's
goal is plus 350 on FanDuel, and his assist is plus 410. His shot on target is I'll tell you in 2 seconds. It is minus 210. So yeah, not very appetizing prices for him today. Um,
his assist definitely still has value. I mean, shop around. I know he hasn't gotten them lately, but he hasn't scored lately either. I just want to let people know that, when he plays back in the midfield like that, which is his more natural position, he has a ton of talent. He can play anywhere on the field. But yeah, I mean, I think he's a lot more likely to assist than he is to score a goal from where he's playing today. Um, that said, he might only play 60 minutes today and then come off. I don't think so because, like we talked about earlier, they need these points. Both teams want to go in with a win. But yeah, I mean, I just want to let everybody know that don't pay a premium on Bellingham's stuff just because he's cashed a couple of tickets for you. Understand that where his position is on the pitch and make sure that you're getting reflective value for what it is he can do from there, and don't let when he was playing wing kind of blindside you on what his role on this team is.
Yeah, so back to Saturday, I guess. Any other matches in Germany you want to talk about? I mean, I'm sure Bayern will blast Schalke. Team
Oh
total
yeah,
stuff
for
for Bayern.
sure. The one you can take anybody on Byron for a goal or an assist, anybody in that front four. They'll probably rotate players pretty heavily. Your buddy John always
Yeah,
loves to do the team total over 1.5 first
always
half.
a good bet.
I really like that bet. That's Byron's whole game plan. Jump down your throat early, put your foot on the gas, don't let up, bury the teams you're supposed to bury.
And
And
their whole
yeah, I
team's
mean,
going to the
I would
World
have no problem taking
Cup.
Byron team total over 1.5 at +110.
Yeah. What about Napoli?
I
What they
fucking
say?
love Italy has the fucking best games, in my opinion, this weekend. And it's kind of advantageous because Italy didn't make the World Cup, and you get a lot of Italian nationals playing in Italy, so you have a little less lineup stuff to worry about over there. So I love Napoli. You can get a -1 on an Asian handicap at -135. I really really like that price. Um, my thing just scrolled past on me. Yeah, Udinese, they came out and they definitely exceeded expectations early in the year. They were there in the top four. Um, yeah, you will be able to bet live goal scorers on FanDuel. If a sub is made, don't expect it up immediately. It's gonna take a couple of minutes. So just you will be able to live bet goal scorers on FanDuel. Just answering a question in the chat there.
Yeah,
DraftKings has it as well. Most sports books will offer those props. It's just when substitutes come on, it sometimes takes 3 to 4 or 5 minutes for them to show up, because they're not, they're not, they don't, they don't care whether or not you get your action down on the substitutes, and they also don't run their own stuff for that. That's contracted out to a third party. So if you see a guy subbing on and you're like, why isn't he available? Why isn't he available? It's none of that conspiracy stuff about, oh, well, they know he's going to score, so they're not offering it. No, it just takes time.
yeah. It's depends on the league, man. Like FanDuel, yeah, they've changed the way they're doing their soccer. They've clearly outsourced this to somebody else, and they've limited liability as much as possible. The live market is depleted. The menu is bare bones at this point. So you can basically only bet live goal scorers now. Really, no other props other than like a team card or a team goal or something like that, like or the live total or the live money line. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's just they've made the business decision that it's too much for them, and they don't want the headache because they've got other things going on. So if there's just a small handle and then they're just constantly getting their ass kicked on this stuff,
Right.
they're moving away from it. So
Yeah,
uh,
it's not the NBA, it's not the NFL.
yeah,
They don't have the handle on this stuff, that makes it profitable for them like those sports do. So
Mhm.
yeah, but you will be able to find live goal scorers.
In most big major leagues, you still
Yeah,
can.
like we said, in the top 4, top 5 leagues,
Mhm.
for sure. There's leagues they don't even offer goal scorer props for, unless
They've
it's on
stopped
certain.
with the Brazilian league altogether. You can't
Yeah,
play.
yeah, you can find that on Barstool though. That's where I go to bet Brazilian goal scorers because Leg's
Yep.
a big Brazilian Serie A guy. Um, you know, if you're betting Belgium league, they only offer player props on like Genk and Red Bulls and a couple of those squads. So um, that's just that's their prerogative. They're making the market, so we kind of have to play whatever they get. But anyway, back to this Udinese team. They started off red hot. They've kind of cooled down and come back to earth here a little bit. I still think Beto is a good player. Dumfries or whatever his name is, definitely has a bunch of potential and skill. I think Udinese can probably get a goal here. Napoli aren't super known for their clean sheets, but I'd like Napoli to pour it on here. They are leading the race for the Scudetto. It's very, very difficult to win the Scudetto in Italy. It's one of the most competitive trophies out there, and it's a huge, huge deal to win the Scudetto in Italy. So yeah, Napoli are going to want all 3 points here, and they're going to want to go into break undefeated. I'll take Napoli -1 on the Asian handicap, and then I'll wait around to see what lineups come out because I'll be taking goal scorer props for sure.
A show. I gotta remind myself to take this Birmingham money line right now.
For sure. Um, Spain's done. I'm not gonna talk Copa del Rey stuff. We'll stay in Italy and kind of work backwards from there because Italy's got a great early kickoff game. It's 6:30 in the morning for those of us on the East Coast. If you're farther west, that fucking sucks because this Atalanta hosting Inter game is gonna be sick. Atalanta, they've dropped a couple of games here that they probably shouldn't have. That Lecce loss midweek is a little inexcusable. They did get Zapata back. He had a goal. That's only going to help Atalanta. I think Atalanta still play very good football. They're very, very much in the top 4 conversation for me with how they've been playing this year. Inter have been struggling a lot in Serie A, and they kind of need to refocus and start picking up points here. They were the preseason favorite to win the Scudetto. They're not even in the top 4 right now. I think they're hanging around at about 6th place. Going on the road to Atalanta is going to be tough. I love goals in this game. Both offenses are super high powered. Both defenses do tend to concede, especially Inter. I love both teams to score over 2.5 here at -110.
The I think Inter will win the match. Um, they're I don't know. It's hard for me to know for sure without seeing lineups to give out props and stuff like that. But I think Inter here. I love this almost 2-1 to your money kind of price to take a stab here on the road for them to go get the win. I'm happy to go ahead and invest probably a unit here to win almost 2. I think they can go and get this win at Atalanta.
That
It's
2-0 loss to Juve over the week doesn't bug you?
no, not really. I Atalanta just aren't a team that I have any confidence in backing at all. I haven't put a bet on them in 2 years, so there won't be a single dollar wagered on those guys by me. I'm not saying that you can't go make money that way, but yeah, Inter winners of 4 of the last 5. I'm happy to go ahead and buy right here and take a chance at this kind of price.
All right. Let's talk AC Milan versus Fiorentina. AC Milan host Fiorentina, and Fiorentina fucking suck on the road. The fact that you can get AC Milan at minus 140 is very interesting to me because nobody on Fiorentina can guard Leao. Giroud is playing good football for them. AC Milan, especially at home, is with. I just couldn't believe this price point. I'm taking AC Milan all day. Fiorentina, not that good on the road. Um, you know, they've played some nice midweek games, but they're struggling here in Serie A. And AC Milan believe that they should still be in conversation for the Scudetto, and they play that way. So before break here, give me AC Milan minus 140 all day versus Fiorentina.
Um, Not one I really care to get involved in personally because AC Milan are a team that I just cannot get on the right side of. I'm going to just tap out and admit defeat on them this year. Every time I back them, they lay an egg. And so I'll do you the favor of not getting involved. That way you can win your bet.
For sure.
Yeah.
I got quite, chat. You just said AC Milan cost you money last game. You must be talking about the midweek 0-0 draw because they won that game versus Spiza, even though Giroud took the red card. They won that game 2-1. They, you know, they lost to Torino between a UCL matchup where they were really focused on UCL. So, yeah, you got as a gambler, you gotta have short term memory on stuff like that. AC Milan is a far superior team to Fiorentina here. I would not be afraid to go back. I'm not afraid to go back to that well. I will go back to that well. Um, Next, I think the Juve versus Lazio game is
Yeah.
super interesting. Juve allowed the least amount of goals in Serie A. They just had a very, very impressive win with like 12 fucking players on their injury sheet versus a very tough Inter team. They won 2-0 and shut them out. Juve's only conceded, I want to say, like 18 goals in Serie A this year. Lazio is Immobile came on for them. I don't know if he's fully fit. I don't know if he'll play the full match. But if Immobile is not in there, I don't think Lazio have anywhere near the teeth or offensive firepower to score on Juve. And Juve's got a lot of guys with a lot of talent. They move the ball well. They got their ass beat by Maccabi Haifa, and kind of was like a season-defining loss for them. And they've been on a fucking tear ever since. They haven't dropped points in Serie A since that game, and Juve are ecstatic for this international break to try and get guys healthy, and they're putting themselves in a place where they're going maybe not to fully compete for the Scudetto, but they're gonna be competing for this top four and trying to play Champions League football again next year. So yeah, Lazio did beat Roma without Immobile. That was impressive, and then they completely shit the bed the next game. That was a nice little bounce back for them without Immobile to prove that they could score. They beat them by like 4 goals, I think, and then they laid a complete egg, and that caught up with them. So, when you have a big player like that go down, sometimes you can get the rest of the team to rally and get that result like they did against Roma. But you saw what happened the next game out. They did not perform well and performed more of how I expected them to against Roma. So you won't catch me back in Lazio against Juve, who've only allowed 18 goals in Serie A with no Immobile. That said, I do think the books have caught on and taken away the advantage, a little bit of the advantage on betting Juve. You can still get them minus 110, but you were getting dumb numbers on Juve. Like when they played Lecce the other day, I got them plus 125. I think in the midweek match, somebody was DMing me. They're like, yo, is Juve plus 125 a good bet? And I'm like, oh, Verona play them really tough. I kind of want to see lineups. I know they have injuries, and they ended up grinding out a 1-0 win against Verona and played well against a team who historically has played Juve very tough. So I gotta give Juve a lot of credit here. I think they're playing good football. And their defense is really starting to round into form, which was their liability the first half of this season. So I tend to want to back Juve here still.
I'm not touching this at all. So yeah, I won't watch it and I won't bet it.
For sure.
Yeah, so I'm not even going to give a take, so we can get to some other matches.
There's really only two left. Brighton versus Aston Villa. Brighton at home. I still don't respect Aston Villa. I'll fully admit I was wrong. McAfee was right. They beat Man United, and then United knocked them out of the FA Cup. Like we said, we're not putting a ton of weight in FA Cup stuff here. Brighton, they won me some money. I still can't say that I honestly respect Brighton. But at home here, yeah, I think they take care of business against Villa.
So yeah, the EFL Cup, like not to be confused, the FA Cup. FA Cup.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
EFL
no,
Cup.
teams
My
will
bad.
teams will still try in the FA Cup, I think. But yeah, Brighton. They're at home, so this is an interesting spot. I think they'll have just enough to probably. Gosh, man, I'm trying to think here if I want to get involved, like in this match. I'll see lineups first, but to me, like Villa is a perfect club for Unai Emery. Like he's going to organize them, he's going to have them tough to beat, and they're going to score goals on the counter. And they've got the kind of team here where I think Brighton have overachieved a bit.
Oh, absolutely.
So would it surprise me if Villa go get this win? No, but I think both teams to score is potentially a look at minus 125. I think that would be the way to play it.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all.
Yeah.
My thing with Villa is it's that defense needs work. I mean, how many fucking goals is Tyrone Mings put in his own fucking net? It's tough. Emery's got a lot of work to do there. Wait, a lot. I need to see a lot more of Villa before I start putting respect on Villa's name. You know, I'm not a super pro Brighton person either. I think they don't finish their chances. Their XG is always through the roof compared to goals scored. I just don't think they have great finishing talent. Personally, for me, this is probably going to be a no bet game. I'm not going to struggle for action on Sunday. I like as you heard me talk about 3 Italian games. I like way more than both these Premier League games.
Yeah, because it's the early kickoff on Sunday morning, I probably might have a bet on it, just because I do think, yeah, the travel away to Newcastle 4-0 is there, but then you look and they've got the 4-0 against Brentford and the 3-1 against United. I think Brighton will score with like Trossard and Gross and those guys. Lallana has come back. He's healthy now. He's getting some run in the team. I think there's goals for both teams, and minus 125 I think is a good way to start your day without going too crazy. Like
For sure.
Yeah, and then Fulham United. What do you think?
Uh, this is a who the fuck is United match for me. Fulham at home. Fulham's playing good football. Like let's
Yeah.
not kid ourselves here. Fulham is doing very well for themselves. They made some great moves after being promoted from champions. They played City very tough for 90 fucking minutes. Obviously they were a man up, but Fulham, Mitrovic he'll be
Probably not
there.
going to
He'll
play.
give the team what he can, but he's focusing in on World Cup. Uh, Man United. I can't figure. I don't know what
Mhm.
to expect from that team. I don't want to have expectations on that team. I love, I love Anthony. Um, they they have problems. Martial had a really nice goal the other in that cup match. He was wearing the Black Magic gloves. Shout out Leg. If you don't know the legend of the Black Magic gloves, check out his article. It's fucking hilarious. But yeah, I mean, this this is a tricky match for me. I don't know. I'll look at lineups, but I don't love either of these matches on Sunday out of the EPL.
Yeah, it's part of me thinks that there is a Pereira storyline here. I think in a potential revenge game here, he'll probably want to score. And could he do it? I think so, especially if Mitro is out. We saw him step up and take the penalty against Man City. The yeah, I think both teams to score is a good look in this match. I think over 2.5 is also a good look. I think that might be the way to play it. There typically is 3 goals when these two teams play, so that I think will be the way to play it. Fulham, I mean, they'll look at it as a chance to consolidate their top 10 position before the break. United want to stay in these European places, so yeah, I think that's the way I'll probably attack it if I do put a bet on things, with maybe a sprinkle if the price is right on that angle, like the Pierre goal, like I mentioned. I think
For
uh,
sure.
he'll want to stick it to the old employers.
Yeah, and it's no discredit to these matches. I think they're going to be competitive. I think it's going to be good football. It's just too far away from me right now. It's like I'm not going to dig into prop prices without lineups and shop 14 different guys and have a list for that sort of stuff where I'm waiting and then cross off a bunch of my research work
Yeah, it's not
because
worth the
guys aren't
investment right now.
starting. So yeah, I mean, I think it'll be good football. It's just it's a tricky spot to do a show on Friday and try and predict especially on what the hell United's going to run out there. I mean, their lineup changes every time they play.
Yeah, I would assume Rashford will be out there. Uh, and then Bruno, Ericsson, Casemiro. I mean, all those guys will play. Uh, but yeah, Marshall. I mean, he's got to start over Ronaldo if he's healthy. He's a better
Facts.
player.
Yeah, Anthony
He's a better
Martial
player
is a
right now.
far better player right now.
Right now, right. And then so it's yeah. I guess we'll wait and see. Like that would be a game like I could see it if Mitro and Ronaldo are starting. I could see the same game parlays already of those two guys to score and stuff. And just be like, all right, boys. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
mhm.
I'm not gonna lie, I took Ronaldo last week. They gave
Yeah,
him the armband. Like, uh, I had to fucking take him. The price on him was outrageous too. It was like plus 150 for a goal.
mhm.
So give me captain. I said give me captain Ronaldo. It didn't happen. I'm
Yeah.
okay taking that risk. To me, I'd
Yeah,
much rather see Martial out there. I think he gives them a better chance at winning, especially when they pair him with Anthony on the right wing. You show me that United team, and my tune's gonna change. Because that lineup has teeth. Um, it just that's how United are for me right now. They're too in flux for me to try and predict what they're gonna do. So I prefer just to wait and see what they're gonna do, and then I can determine how I'm gonna attack it from there.
all right. You want to talk anything else before we wrap up, or Want to talk U.S. The 26 for the U.S. men's team, or want to save that for another day?
Yeah, I mean, sure. You want to hear me fucking rant and rave?
Sure,
Yeah.
that's when this show is at its best, is when you're going off the rails, man.
Yeah, I mean, leaving Zach Steffen at home was a giant fucking mistake. That's not good. Greg Berhalter is that was not a good move by him. Leaving Ricardo Pepe at home was a gigantic fucking mistake.
Yeah.
Guy's done nothing but get you fucking buckets. I don't care where he's playing. They want to say, oh, well, we sold him for, over $20 million and he struggled at Augsburg. Pepe didn't struggle at Augsburg. They never fucking played him. Augsburg was too worried about putting 10 men in the box and defending because they didn't want to lose out on Bundesliga money by getting fucking relegated again. So, that's not a Ricardo Pepe problem. That was a system problem. And, going to Augsburg, that was the best move that Dallas could have made because it got him the most money. And, it wasn't his best career move. Going to a PSV, going to an Ajax, going to somewhere that has much better player development than Augsburg would have been better for Ricardo Pepe. But Dallas has to get their bag. That's their player. That's how Dallas is going to continue to invest in their academy, which is
Well,
second,
I mean, their
second
center
in the
forward,
nation. What's up?
he got to go instead of Pepe, and he's so that's kind of funny. I don't think we're gonna play.
Vieira has nowhere near the finishing talent that fucking Pepe has.
I don't think we play with a center forward. Like I think Berhalter is gonna play Pulisic.
Absolutely.
As
I just want to mention, dude in chat, you're fucking right. The kid from Union Berlin should have made the team.
Oh, people? No, he's terrible. He is horrible. Like that dude. I had a tweet go viral when he missed that chance in the Gold Cup against Mexico. That fucking I think it was Gio Reyna that set him up, and literally it's an open net, and he's 3 yards from goal or 5 yards from goal tops, and he said ball goes out for a throw in for Mexico. Like it was the most horrendous look. That guy is useless for what we're going to be doing. Like I don't see what he does that brings any value to the way the U.S. are going to play. Like I totally get why he's not there. I think we are going to be a team that has to play counterattack and is going to have a high press and a lot of energy. And that's why I think Pulisic as the striker will make sense. I think get him as close to goal as we possibly can.
He's got to be the fucking Superman cape, bro.
And then flank him with Aronson and Reyna. I think that's the plan. I think
and
that
get fucking McKinney putting in his. McKinney is fucking awesome in the midfield.
Well, yeah, the midfield, will sort itself out. Him and Adams are definitely going to be in there, and then of course the third option. I mean, Musa to me is the best, but I mean, is he fully fit and is he healthy? Will he choose to go like an Acosta or maybe a Luca de la Torre? He could see that look as well, but to me, that's the front three or the midfield three is our strongest part of our team. So it'll be tough. I think a good bet to make, and I wrote an article about it. If you want to back the U.S. to get out of the group, you can bet them the exact finish of the group and bet England 1 and U.S. 2. You can get that at plus money. I think it's like plus. Let me pull that up real quick. Make sure I'm not giving you out a stale number here. So you go to soccer, then you go to World Cup, and then you go to the World Cup tab, Group B, and then the exact. It's called straight forecast. So you go England 1, USA 2 is plus 220. That's much better than taking USA to get out of the group at even money. Yeah, because England will win the group, and they'll probably win all 3 games, unless they decide, against Wales in the last game that they just want to kind of rotate the team heavily and maybe they get a draw or something out of that. But I think that's the way to play USA to make it out of the group. If we do make it out of the group,
If we
I'm
do,
worried.
yeah, because I could see us fumbling this fucking bag here.
What do you think? Do you think we will make it out of the group, or do you think Iran or Wales will get ahead of us?
If we can stop Gary B, we can get out of this group.
Yeah, I think Iran, if they weren't in such turmoil right now, like domestically with all the things going on, like I I would almost want to take Iran to get out of the group. Like go England 1, Iran 2
Yeah.
uh, at plus 500. I think I like that bet a lot. But just with everything going on, I feel like Iran is kind of bow out of this World Cup kind of meekly. Um, and the Welsh team, like they have the advantage of to get England last, so
Yeah.
England may already be on 6 points, and it may not be a must win for them, but I don't know. Even England's B team it would be better than all the other teams. Like so, gosh,
Yeah.
it's
My problem there is
tough.
just like Southgate's style of football. England's going to be perfectly content grinding out 1-0 wins,
Yeah,
which is fine. And it's a great way to advance in a cup like this. It's just going to be very difficult to flip that switch and try and turn it on when they face tougher competition and adversity.
well, I think in the group they'll play their attacking formation, play a 4-3-3, and then once the knockout stages start, I think they'll revert back to three at the back and play with wing backs.
Yeah.
Because right now, to be honest, like 33-year-old Gareth Bale, he's a danger from free kicks,
Yep.
and things like that. Like, but there's
He
not a lot
does
of
turn it up for Wales too. Like
yeah, no, of
the
course,
Gary B you see day in and day out isn't the Gary B you're gonna get for Wales in a fucking World Cup. Like that man shows out for
yeah.
Wales. And we'll have it.
Give me your prediction. How's it all shake out? What? So give me how that group plays out.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. England top of the group, either Wales or USA. I want USA to advance. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that because I disagree with how Berhalter's coaching and the people he's taking that I don't want to see USA advance. I do want to see USA advance.
Yeah,
It's going to be tough though. I mean, like you said, Iran play quality football. That's going to be that's not a cakewalk. Wales, this is their first World Cup showing in like 67 fucking years or something like that. They're gonna want to fucking play hard. It's the toughest competition in football.
USA
It's a
versus
single.
Wales. Talk to me. November 21st. USA plus 150, draw plus 200, and Wales plus 180. And they don't have player prop. Oh, maybe they do. Let me see. No, I don't see goal scorer props just yet. But would you take Gareth Bale for a goal? What price do you need Gareth Bale for a goal to take?
Oh, I need over 200 on Gary
Over
B for a
200. What
goal.
about Pulisic? Do you think what price are you looking for him?
160 to 180.
Okay, I dig it. Yeah, that'll be a
I need,
squeaker,
yeah.
man.
I mean, Wales. It's not going to be easy to score goals on them. I mean, if you watch that, I know he was their back, maybe their second choice keeper, I think, because of injuries. But if you watched I forget his name too, that keeper stood on his fucking head against Ukraine in that elimination game to get them through. Ukraine could have had fucking 8 goals. Yarmolenko alone could have had 3. That keeper was an absolute animal there to get Wales into the World Cup. And if he puts on performances like that, it's going to be really, really hard to get goals against them.
Yeah, yeah. We'll have the advantage of knowing England beat Iran already, and then it'll be about kind of looking at it and saying like, okay, well, we both want to beat Iran next. As a draw, the worst result for us, like and then it comes down to who loses to England worse. Like,
Right. Yeah. It
uh,
comes down to your goal differential. So,
right, it's gonna goal differential will come into play here. I think England go 9 points through this group, and it'll come down between what happens here in this first game.
yeah.
If Wales win, they're through. If U.S. wins, they're through. A draw, then it comes down to how that Iran game and how bad you lose to England.
Yep.
So fascinating group for sure. I think we probably could wrap it up. Don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. I just want to
Gapping
give
forever.
one more shout out to chat. Thanks for sticking around and engaging with us.
Yeah. Always fun.
Ecuador money line against Qatar. I don't hate that. Ecuador money line though, in any of like the cup qualifier games, Ecuador at home is a fucking cheat code. Their stadium is at like 18,000 feet elevation. Nobody can fucking breathe up there. Ecuador at home in South America is a fucking cheat code. Back them every time. Made a shit ton of money off of taking them double chance versus Argentina. And just the elevation at that stadium is unreal. Ecuador at home in South America is a fucking cheat code. So I see where you're coming with that Ecuador money line. I'll probably have to look into it versus Qatar. But yeah, you're not off base there in giving credit to Ecuador and how they play. I just did want to mention that them at home in South America is an action. It's the highest elevation stadium on the planet. So yeah, it's really fucking hard to play there.
Yeah, no, and that I don't know. The host nation rarely gets turned over in the opening match. Like
Yep.
I could see. I mean, yeah, Ecuador are better, but like I'm not going against Qatar in this match. Like Qatar is. I don't know if I back them here plus 250, but a tie makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I just don't feel it. I don't see them getting turned over here in the first match. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if I'll even have a bet on this first match, but
Yeah, that's the other thing, guys, is just you don't have to bet all 32 games every time they play.
you don't. I think we
No,
do.
you don't.
Come on, man. I think we do. No, but you're right.
We'll talk about them for media purposes, but
Sure.
that doesn't mean I'm
Right.
gonna make a play on every single one of them.
Yeah, I hear you, bro. Well, hey, man, that's all I've got. You got anything else?
No,
Yep.
I'm looking forward to probably Italy the most. We got some good games this
Mm.
weekend.
We got a
Um,
Gladbach goal.
nice.
Jonas Hoffman, assisted by Lars Stindl. Um, yeah, Hoffman, man, that's a fun. If you know about Hoffman. Wink, wink. Everybody that caught that last week, that was fun. Shout out to Mr. Jonas Hoffman.
Yes, sir.
Yep. All right,
All
man.
right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in. Sorry we ran a little long to our producer, but wanted to talk a little World Cup there at the end. We'll be back with more World Cup coverage and everything like that. So thank you for tuning in. Shout out to Pickett. Sign up with promo code Burroaks. Sign up with promo code McAfee. Shout out Gold Boys for hosting us. And I'm Oaks, and I'm out. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace. Oh, one other thing, guys. If you, I'll be at SmackDown tonight. So turn on the SmackDown. You'll see the Gold Boys. I'll be holding up a Gold Boys sign when you see me on TV. Send the screenshots and stuff like that. It'll be fun.
Hell yeah. Let's
Yep.
go. A little WWE action.
That's right. We're going to see the Tribal Chief tonight.
Yes, sir.